Most people think war is about killing. Soldiers fight, people die, one side wins and the other side loses. That is the old way of understanding war. Jasbir Puar shows that modern warfare has fundamentally changed. Today, powerful countries do not always want to kill their enemies. Sometimes they want to injure them in ways that last forever. They want to break bodies but keep them alive. This is what Puar calls the imperial production of impairment. Causing long term, permanent injury is not an accident of war, it is actually the deliberate goal. To understand Puar, we first need two words: disability and debility. In rich Western countries, disability is usually seen as something that happens to an individual person. Maybe someone is born blind. Maybe someone loses a leg in a car crash. Society then tries to help that person with ramps and laws. Disability is seen as a personal condition that needs accommodation. But Puar says this way of thinking does not work for colonized people under military occupation. In Palestine, in parts of India, and in many places where empires still control land, injury is not personal at all. It is mass produced across whole populations. This is debility. Debility means the slow, steady, and systematic wearing down of an entire population over time. It is not about one person losing a leg, it is about thousands of people being made weak, sick, malnourished, and exhausted on purpose by imperial control. When an empire controls a territory, it can make debility the normal state of daily life. Everyone is tired, everyone has untreated health problems, everyone struggles to find food and clean water. This is not an accident, it is a deliberate strategy. Two famous thinkers wrote about how power works on human bodies. Foucault said modern states use biopower, meaning they manage life at the population level. They decide who gets to live and who is left to die. Membe looked at colonies and said colonial power is much worse. He named this necropolitics, meaning the power to decide who dies and who matters at all. Pua says both sides are not enough. There is a third option. The empire does not want to kill everyone. Killing causes international outrage and might be called genocide. The empire also does not want to let people live fully and well. Giving people good lives would create enemies who have the energy to fight back. So, what does the empire want? It wants people to be alive but broken. It wants bodies that breathe but cannot work productively, cannot organize politically, and cannot resist occupation. This is the right to maim. By keeping a population alive but physically compromised, the imperial state avoids the political backlash of mass slaughter while still achieving total control. One of the most important tools for producing mass debility is the blockade. A blockade means closing borders and strictly controlling what can enter a territory, including food, medicine, clean water, electricity, and fuel. When an empire puts a blockade on an occupied territory, it runs a calculated biological experiment on an entire human population. The empire can calculate exactly how much food to let through. It allows just enough stop mass death from outright starvation, but not nearly enough for healthy bodies. Children grow up severely malnourished. Their bones do not develop properly. Their brains are permanently affected. This is the design, not a side effect. When blockades stop medicine from entering, people do not die right away. They die slowly over months and years. A small infection that could be cured with a week of antibiotics becomes a wound that never heals. A treatable illness becomes permanent disability. The empire does not need to drop a bomb on every single person. It just needs to break the systems that keep bodies healthy. When we hear news reports about drone strikes or smart bombs, military officials constantly use the word precision. They say they only target combatants. Puar argues we should not believe this story. Even when a bomb does not hit a person directly, it causes severe harm. Sound of massive explosions permanently damages hearing, especially for children. The pressure wave from a blast causes traumatic brain injury without leaving any visible mark. Then there are drones. In places like Gaza, Pakistan, and Yemen, military drones fly overhead constantly. They make a buzzing sound that never stops. This destroys normal sleep. Children grow up never having a single full night of restful sleep. This fundamentally changes how their brains develop and how their nervous systems function. Even worse, extreme trauma can be passed down to children who are not yet born. Epigenetics shows that extreme stress leaves chemical markers on DNA. When a pregnant woman lives under constant fear, her unborn baby is born already chemically altered with higher risk of anxiety, high blood pressure, and other problems. The empire is not just disabling the living population today, it is pre manufacturing impairment in the next generation. Now, think about the physical space of military occupation. Checkpoints everywhere, tall concrete walls, rubble blocking streets. For a healthy person, moving through the space is already difficult. For a person deliberately maimed by the empire, moving becomes impossible. Imagine you use a wheelchair. Every sidewalk has been destroyed. To get to the only hospital still working, you have to cross a checkpoint with no ramp. Soldiers make you wait for hours. When they finally tell you to move, you cannot move fast enough. The soldier then treats your slow movement as a security threat. The space itself punishes you for being disabled. But remember, the empire deliberately caused your disability. Then it built a landscape that makes your disability worse. Then it uses your disability as an excuse to hurt you more. The maimed body becomes trapped in a cruel loop. All this sounds completely hopeless, and it is meant to feel that way. The imperial production of impairment is designed to make organized resistance feel impossible. But Puar reminds us of something crucial. Broken bodies are not passive bodies. Disabled and colonized people consistently find ways to survive. In blockaded territories, people build secret networks to smuggle medicine. They share scarce resources so no one starves alone. They create underground clinics in basements. They learn to navigate checkpoints using hidden routes. The empire wants people to be too exhausted to fight, but sometimes survival itself is a profound form of fighting. Every single day that a maimed person wakes up, finds food for their family, and refuses to stop hoping, that is a real act of refusal. The empire wanted you broken but alive. Being alive and still refusing to obey, still refusing to disappear, that is the rebellion. The right to maim is frighteningly real, but so is the right to resist, even from a wheelchair, even when the drones never stop buzzing overhead.